Hey y'all, it's Daisy. I'm back again with another review. I know I didn't do one last week, so that's why I'm trying to play catch up a little bit. This week I will be discussing a movie that's currently on Netflix. It's called Extraction. It came out back in April of this year, and I know it reached probably about like approximately 90 million households like the first 4 weeks in streaming. And it's an action film. It stars Chris Hemsworth. People kind of know him as Thor in the MCU and Marvel movies and stuff like that. There's other amazing actors in it as well, like David Harbour. Um, I'm probably pronouncing these two names wrong. Golshifteh Farahani. She's an amazing and beautiful Iranian actress. She did what's that one movie? Body of Lies back in like 2009. That was her. And then there's an amazing young actor in it called, I'm probably, please forgive me if I butcher this, Rudhraksh Jaiswal. He's like he plays the young boy in the film, and he was amazing, and he had like a great maturity that I felt carried the film well. But basically, it was directed by Sam Hargrave. It was produced by Eric Gitter, as well as Chris Hemsworth was also an executive producer, as well as the Russo brothers, who also are familiar from the Marvel universe. And I know Joe Russo helped with the screenplay. And basically, Extraction is based. This movie is based on a graphic novel called Ciudad, which was written by Ande Parks and Fernando León González. Um, the production, I think they filmed in Mumbai in Thailand, and basically the premise is Chris Hemsworth. He plays a black mercenary called Tyler Rake, and he's hired to rescue a young Indian boy who's the son of a major drug dealer who's currently in jail. And I know it was set in Bangladesh, and some people were kind of offended that they said it felt like it put that area, like the area of the world, in a bad light. But I think people are just trying to fuss over. They're trying to find things to complain about, but I'm like, that. Of course, that part of the world doesn't look like all of it looks like that, but it kind of matched with the nature of the movie. And I personally thought it was a great action film. I know some critics gave it mixed reviews because they said while the action was great, they felt like some of it was like excessive violence. And sure, like Netflix even did a joke saying, the main character killed like 183 people. They did like a funny tweet about it. But come on, you got to be serious. There's other action films out there that people get praised for, like John Wick, for example. Clearly, he's killed more people than this character did in this particular movie. So I feel people were just kind of like complaining about that. And maybe I liked like the action sequences in it, because not only like I thought the stunt work was like amazing, and it had like a lot of it was like close combat, but it was like neck breaking almost. But I love how they did the close combat with like extremely long shots and like tight spaces. And I just thought it was like a lot of, especially like the action sequences, I thought they were filmed great. And it didn't, like, sure, there was like a lot of violence, but I feel like it wasn't overkill with some of their sequences. Like, you could tell that they really mapped out the stunt work, just for people that are fans of action films. They didn't go for like thrills and overkill like recent films, like especially like the Mission Impossible films, and even some films in like the MCU or like other like comic book films like that. Sometimes, like, because I'm a kid of the '80s, and growing up with my dad and stuff, we watched action. Like, I watched a lot of action films with him, and sure, they were kind of cheesy, but just to watch, you could tell like just some of the stunt work was just kind of, was just jaw dropping, and that like this film kind of brought me back to that, and I thought that was cool too. I thought it was cool. I also thought the casting was great. Like Chris Hemsworth, sure, like he doesn't have a great he doesn't have a great film resume. I mean, outside of the MCU, he has maybe like one or two, like a couple of films that he is pretty decent in. Like he's a great comedic actor, but like as far as like outside of comedic acting, outside of comic books, like movies and stuff, he's kind of under the radar. I did like him in Rush. That's like an underrated film he was in. And actually 12 Strong is another movie that he was in. It's another action film, and that's underrated as well. But I feel like he did an amazing job in this, and he kind of, is he like a great actor? I mean, he's not bad. We've seen worse. But I think this kind of puts him on the map of he could do stuff out of the MCU, and that's great because, he's been playing Thor for, 10 years, and him as an actor, he didn't want to be pigeonholed, and I think this role was perfect for him not to be pigeonholed in just one particular role. And the action was, the other casting was great. I like Chris Hemsworth's dynamic with the young boy that I mentioned before. His character was named Avi. Like I said, this young actor, he has like an amazing mature presence for his age, and and we've seen films before where kids get kidnapped and are whining and complaining, and or they're brought there for comic relief. But here, I like the fact that he carried his weight throughout the film, and he showed not only vulnerability, but there was I like the dynamic between him and Rake, Tyler Rake, and I liked the story overall. I mean, there was a couple places where there was lulls, and maybe there was maybe one action sequence that could have been sliced in half, but I did like the story overall because it wasn't bogged down with other unimportant subplots. There was one other subplot that kind of gives you sorry, my hair is a mess. I was trying to do an experiment, and obviously experiment went wrong. But I like the fact that there's one subplot for the main character that kind of gives you an idea of who he is as a man, but it wasn't it didn't bog down the story basically. So I did like that. And I also like Chris Hemsworth's dynamic with Golshifteh Farahani. I'm probably butchering her name, but I like their dynamic because obviously they have a past and they have a respect for each other. But I like the fact that they didn't go over the top with, oh, they have a romantic relationship, or they didn't they had a great banter to where it didn't take away from the rest of the story. And I like that. There were subplots, but the subplots still had a connection with the story, and it didn't take away from what the main story was. And so that's why I thought it was a great film. Sure, some people kind of said that even Chris Hemsworth was oh, white savior complex and blah blah blah. And okay, we get it. Hollywood does need to have more diversity with movie leads, but I feel like when people throw that term around, they throw it around in the wrong way. And sure, they could have picked a different person of a different race to pick that role, but I still feel like that shouldn't take away from the way he carried the film. I mean, I think he did a good job, and sure, diverse. They do need to have more diversity in Hollywood, but I feel like when people throw that term around, we need to learn how to pick our battles, and I feel like this was not one of those times. So overall, I thought it was a great film. I thought the ending, I don't want to give away the ending, but the ending I thought was I thought it was cool how it was an ambiguous ending, and and I know there's talks of a sequel, and I think even Joe Russo is coming back as a writer, and they want Chris Hemsworth to come back, which I kind of think is interesting, especially with how the movie ends. I don't want to give anything away, but like I said, it's a kind of an ambiguous ending, and I thought it was interesting how it was set up to where you can make your own interpretation of how that particular story ended, and I like that it kind of sparks conversation. I kind of like movies like that where the ending is ambiguous, where sparks conversation with the audience, where you can make up your own interpretation of how the story ends. So I thought that was great too. So this is kind of a short review. So overall, I like the story. It's on Netflix now. Movie is about maybe not quite 2 hours, but it goes by pretty quickly. I thought it was a great film, and I think, like I said, if this kind of sets Chris Hemsworth up for, if he continues to chase roles like this will kind of set him up to have better roles outside the MCU. Like, this is definitely a great medium for him to show other people, hey, I'm an actor besides Thor. Or, like I said, he can go into comedic movies as well, too. I mean, he was in that crappy reboot Vacation that nobody asked for, but he did an amazing job in that. And, you know, we can tell that he's like a funny guy. So I feel like he's a decent actor outside the MCU, and I think that he's a little underrated. And hopefully you guys can watch this weekend. And I should have a new review. Hopefully, I don't want to say next week because I'm still in the middle. Like, my next review is going to be like a book review. And I'm still in the middle of reading the book. And I actually need to reach out to the author to get more of his info to let him, to have it featured so you guys can learn more about him. But so far, so good. I like the story so far. So hopefully, I'll say maybe in the next, like, 2 weeks, fingers crossed, I'll have, like, a book review. But I am going to have another video, next week. Probably just giving you guys an update on the writing situation, which is slowly coming along. But I'm gonna end this video by saying a quick happy birthday to my mom. She turned 60 today, and I'm kind of bummed out that I can't spend a day with her. She's supposed to be getting a special delivery. Hopefully she got it. I'm probably gonna call her in like a minute or two to see if she got her birthday present. So happy birthday, mommy. I miss you and I love you. I talked to you this morning though, but love you. And I also want to give a birthday shout out to my cousin Sabrina. They have the same birthday. I miss you too. I hope that you're getting spoiled today. And I guess that's pretty much it. I'm gonna wrap this video up because I'm rambling, and I'm gonna fix my hair because I realize it looks a hot mess on camera right now. I was trying to do like a pin-up situation. I was basically playing with flowers, and it didn't end well. So hope you guys are surviving this quarantine life. I am. I'm slowly but surely staying sane. Some days it's hard. Other days it's not as bad. But I hope you guys are staying safe. Have a great weekend, and talk to you guys next week.